Well, we can define what it means to be in the wrong body.
Okay, what is that?
What does it mean?
I feel like I'm in the wrong body. That's what it means. Like, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel like myself. I don't feel like who I am in the skin that I'm in. And if there's a way for me to change that, then I'm going to do it.
And do you think 10-year-olds can
Absolutely.
consent to taking these experimental drugs,
Absolutely.
which leave them infertile and
I think
unable to have a
children-
sex life as an adult, for example?
I think children are extremely naive, and I think children will listen to the adults around them. But I also think as a child, you live in your skin from the moment you're born to the moment you die. You know yourself. And if you wake up and you're 10 years old and you just constantly feel like I identify as a female, I am a female. If I constantly felt like I just identify and I understand that gender so much more, and I wouldn't make that decision when I was 10, 12, 13, I would hope the adults in my life respect that.
What's up, YouTube? Hope you guys are feeling good. Today, guys, we're back giving to a new video. Today, we're going to be checking out woke activist embarrasses herself, debating puberty blockers for children. Okay, this is going to be amazing. I love us check this video out together. Let's get right into today's video.
All right, so let's slow this down a little bit and just start off on a little bit better foot. So,
You're not hot in
what's
that
your
suit.
opinion on trans
Just
kids,
ignore
for
them. We
example?
don't
What do you
really
think it
have
is to
time
be a
for
trans
that.
kid?
Emily, we're too educated.
I think it's just
We
about
would love to be
respecting
Good, then go get some.
a child's beliefs and their identity. And like, I don't know, like when I was a kid, like you go through like phases where you're into stuff and you're not into stuff. So maybe at this point in time when you're 12 years old, you're like, I feel like I'm in the wrong body. And that's fine, like that's how you feel. And then if you continue that lifestyle, then that's your life and that's how you want to live. And I think we should all respect that because it's not my body, it's not my life, I don't have to live it. But my job as an adult and a human being is to respect the choices other people make.
Okay, but if we're going to give kids experimental drugs that are actually
Well,
cancer
don't-
drugs used for prostate cancer, used for endometriosis, used to chemically castrate sex offenders, shouldn't we be able to define what it means to be born in the wrong body?
All
Well,
drugs
we-
kill all people. We all take them.
Well, we can define what it means to be in the wrong body.
Okay, what is that?
What does it mean?
I feel like I'm in the wrong body. That's what it means. Like, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel like myself. I don't feel like who I am in the skin that I'm in. And if there's a way for me to change that, then I'm going to do it.
And do you think 10-year-olds can
Absolutely.
consent to taking these experimental drugs, which
Absolutely.
leave them infertile and
I think
unable to have a
children-
sex life as an adult, for
I
example?
think children are extremely naive, and I think children will listen to the adults around them. But I also think as a child, you live in your skin from the moment you're born to the moment you die. You know yourself. And if you wake up and you're 10 years old and you just constantly feel like I identify as a female, I am a female. If I constantly felt like I just identify and I understand that gender so much more, and I wouldn't make that decision when I was 10, 12, 13, I would hope the adults in my life respect that.
So when we look at the kids who go to these gender clinics, I just want to cite a woman who used to work at the Washington University Transgender Clinic in St. Louis. Her name's Jamie Reed. She published an article last year. She quit working there in November. She'd worked there for 4 years as case manager. And she describes herself as a queer woman. She's married to a trans man. And she says she's politically left of Bernie Sanders. So she's not some conservative, right?
Right.
And she says all these kids that show up at the gender clinic all have some other underlying mental health comorbidity. Close to half of them are on the autism spectrum.
Okay.
Kids who have suffered abuse or trauma or sexual abuse or have borderline personality disorder, kids who are cutting, kids with eating disorders. It's all these kids who are struggling with something in life. And they're being treated as though gender is the underlying cause of all these issues. And oftentimes on their very first appointment, they're being prescribed these extraordinarily damaging puberty-blocking drugs, which have never been approved for this purpose. Other countries in the world like Sweden, Finland, England, Norway are doing away with this practice, progressive countries, not because of politicians, but because their medical boards conducted a systematic review of all the evidence.
We got our phone, guys.
Yet, we're taking all these kids who are struggling with varying things and we're just
I need to
right
get a
away
water bottle, too.
putting them on this regimen of puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones. Don't you think maybe we should be slowing it down and treating these other conditions as well?
I absolutely think we should treat all conditions. If a child's gone through trauma, I think they deserve treatment for that as well. Like, I'm not saying that, I don't think it's one or the other, but I do think just because a child's experienced trauma or been through things that I can't imagine, doesn't mean we shouldn't believe the things that they're telling us. I could have gone through something extremely traumatic. I could have had my house burned down in front of me and my parents die while I'm sitting there. That doesn't mean I don't feel like I'm in the wrong body.
But what
Those
I'm telling
could be
you
two separate incidents.
is these kids, statistically speaking, are children who've suffered abuse or trauma, and we're not
do you
treating
think
that
maybe
anymore.
that abuse and trauma made them feel inferior or wrong, or like, you know, something is wrong with me, I can't be the person I want to be because clearly the adults in my life don't respect it, so maybe if I'm someone else it'll be better, which isn't good thinking, like, I mean, but that's how kids think. And I think we should encourage and support children who want to be who they want to be. I think that's what it comes down to. I think the more we support children being who they want to be, the better adults we're going to have in the future.
But, 10-year-olds engage in magical thinking, right?
Absolutely. I'm a school counselor. That's my job. I literally do this professionally.
Can children consent to giving away adult sexual function? Can they consent to giving away adult sexual function?
Here, let me tell you what he's talking about.
So you're saying that as an adult, their ability to have sex may be different due to the decisions they made as a child.
He can unpack it.
So Marcy Bowers is a person who says he's a trans woman. He's the president of the World Professional Association for Transgender Health.
Pause. He says he's a trans woman.
That's right.
So she says X, Y, and Z.
Well, you can use whatever pronouns you wish.
Well, no, that's what I mean. Like, we're going to respect people who they are. When people don't respect people's boundaries and don't respect these identities and don't respect that's when there's issues. That's why trans kids have the highest suicide rate out of everybody.
All right, well,
because people do not accept them. It's not my business.
Okay.
What you do when you go home is not my business.
Stay focused on this one issue, though.
Okay, we're talking about sex. I'm 10 years old.
Well, let me tell you what Marcy Bowers says. So Marcy Bowers is the president.
What I'm speaking.
All right.
So what I'm saying is,
but sorry for speaking while you're interrupting. My apologies.
I feel like you just want to argue. Like, I'm giving you very valid, extremely like.
Do you mind if he gets his point out and then you can take it away?
Actually, I'm finished. My food is.
So Marcy Bowers is the president of WPATH. Marcy admits that none of the children.
I don't appreciate your mission, and I hope that you start to think differently in the future, and you support the children in the ways they need to be supported.
Chemical
Marcy
castration.
has stated that none of the children.
Just like the way you phrase that, like, what are you getting out of that?
Hold on.
Like, what are you getting from a student? Like, from telling a child, like, the way you
We're
put
talking
things,
about the truth of what happens. He's actually trying to tell you exactly what
And
one of
then
the
here you
leaders
are,
in the
like,
industry is saying is happening, and you're not even willing to have the conversation.
framing.
You're not even willing to listen to him.
Because I know exactly
What am I
where
gonna
he's
say?
coming from.
What is he going to say?
I know where he's coming from, the same place you're coming from, where you're going to frame it to fit the way that you believe,
Okay,
and
no,
that's
I can show you the
fine.
video from Marcy Bowers
It's
right
not
now.
even a
if you want.
conservative. We're not even talking about.
Did I say conservative? Did I say conservative or liberal? I said what you believe.
So how are we going to frame it then?
You're framing it in that what this is wrong. That's what you believe.
No. Specifically, what is he getting at?
You're saying that trans kids being on puberty blockers affecting their sexual health and sexual. I don't even know how you say it, like how they have sex
Bowers has
in
said
the
none of the
future.
boys as adults have ever been able to have an orgasm who started puberty blockers at Tanner stage 2. Not one of the boys who started puberty blockers at Tanner stage 2 as
how
adults
big was that
have
sample
sexual
size?
function. He's the president of WPATH, so they know about
Of
all the
what?
thousands of kids. WPATH.
Okay,
You know what WPATH is?
I don't.
It's the World Professional Association for Transgender Health.
Okay.
They write what are called the standards of care
Okay.
that children's hospitals can follow. So Marcy Bowers himself has done more than 2,000 sex reassignment surgeries on males.
You not using the proper pronouns actually tells me everything about this.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Everything I need to know just
right.
came from those sentences.
Good
If
stuff.
that's true, then that really sucks for those men. I don't know what to tell. Like, I don't.
Right.
I'm not a scientist.
We
I can
would
show
agree
you the
on that.
video from him if you want.
No, I'm not saying you're wrong. I
Okay.
believe you. And that sucks. I don't know how else to say that. If you can't have an orgasm, that
So the
really
question
sucks.
is, can a 10-year-old consent to giving that away?
I think we need to respect the things that kids say.
Okay.
I think we need to support trans youth.
Damn.
And I think that's what it comes down to.
crazy.
Because science, as we've all seen with everything in the world, things change.
Have you changed since you were 10 years old?
Absolutely.
How did you change?
I mean, like, physically in every way you possibly could.
Did you learn some things since you were 10?
I would hope so. I learned quite a bit.
Right. So probably the way you think when you're 15 is a lot different than 10.
But I think
it's probably a
your-
lot different at 20 and 25 and 30 as well.
Your morals and your identity, those things for me haven't changed. The way I feel and the way I believe certain things, from the time I've been able to think logically and put things together and do advanced problem solving, those things, I felt the same way about them.
Well, when I was
And
10 years
what-
old, I believed Santa Claus came down my chimney and put presents under the tree.
Right, because children believe in magical thinking, as
Also,
you
the
said.
problem-solving aspect of your brain isn't fully developed until the age of 25 as well, correct?
Okay, well, I'm still saying the way that I process information, the way I see it, the way things go through, that's how I, like, the same way that I thought things when I was a kid, I see it now. And, it's how you grow up, it's who you speak to, it's your parents, it's your family. And because I had parents who supported me and supported the way I thought, I was able to become an adult who feels okay.
Okay,
So-
one last question, if I
Yeah.
may. What would you say to all of the detransitioners who were harmed as children, who are now saying, what the heck did you do to me? I was struggling in life with various other things, and on my first appointment, you started me on this regimen of drugs and then surgeries, and now I'm infertile. I've had my breasts cut off as a child, I'm miserable, I feel like my life is ruined. What do you say to those children who are now young adults?
I'm really sorry that happened to you. I'm really sorry that as a child you experienced something extremely traumatic and it led you one way or the other. And I'm really sorry you made an intense, extreme decision when you were a kid that now as an adult you don't feel was right. But that doesn't mean all those people that detransition, it doesn't mean that that's why everyone thinks.
Are you familiar with the statistics on gender dysphoria about how many kids grow out of it?
Gender what? Dysphoria?
Just gender dysphoria.
So like not feeling like you're the right
Yeah,
gender?
that's right. So historically, before they give kids puberty blockers, there are 12 major academic studies that have been done. They're all up on my website. And more than 80% of the time, kids with severe gender dysphoria that started from a young age, these kids simply outgrew it when they went through puberty. The most recent study that was done followed 139 boys from the age of 5 all the way into their 20s. 87.8% simply outgrew it. And this is the really interesting part that the trans activists never want to talk about. 63.6%, a majority of these kids across all these studies, grew up to be gay. So this is now telling little kids who would grow up to be gay that there's something wrong with them, which is the message we're sending when we tell a child they're born in the wrong body. We're telling them they were
But
born wrong.
No one is telling a child you're born in the wrong body.
Of course they are.
It's a child coming
You're standing
to
out
you
here saying kids are born in the wrong body.
because don't twist my words, please.
That's what you're
I
saying.
said we need to respect children's boundaries. So if a child comes up to me and says I'm in the wrong body, I'm not going to sit there and tell them they're wrong.
What does it mean to be in the wrong body? How's that possible? What does it mean?
It means whatever they want it to mean.
That's not a definition.
I can't give it a definition because I've never experienced
Well,
that.
if we're going to sterilize kids, we should be able to define it, don't you
I'm not going to speak
think?
to something I've never experienced because that's not my job.
Well, if you're
My
going to
job
sterilize
as an
kids,
adult,
don't you think as a
your job
counselor
as
that you
an
shouldn't
adult-
be pushing this false ideology
I'm
upon
not
them?
pushing anything. I have a kid come in and they say, Miss Emily, I think I want to be a boy. Okay, talk to me. Why do you feel that way?
So here's what's actually happening in that instance. This child is deluded.
Do you
Hold on.
have you worked
I'm
with
gonna tell
children
you what you're
that
doing to
have
these
said
kids
these
right now.
things? What I'm
Because
doing
what you're
to
doing
these
is
kids,
actual child abuse.
I'm actually
You
done
have a
with this.
child who's deluded.
I'm so sorry that you think this
That's
way,
fine,
and I
but
hope
I'm gonna
one
get
day
my
you
point out
respect
here
people's
for the
boundaries.
camera.
I'm actually walking
You've got a
away.
child
You can
who's
turn
deluded,
the camera off.
and when you affirm that delusion, you are cementing this abusive thought in place that there's something wrong with this child, and that the only way they find true happiness is by physically changing their body and sterilizing themselves. You should do some more research because you are, as a counselor, a child abuser right now.
The entire conversation they had with this woman is that she just don't want to listen to them, number one, or accept that point of view that she's wrong. Because you can't tell me you're a counselor in school. Do you know what it means to be a counselor? It's someone who advises and also look deep into what the kids really want and tell them, okay, this is how you should do it. This is how you should do it. They put kids straight to the right path. And you being a counselor, a kid came up to you and tell you that they feel like they're in the wrong body. You're accepting it. That is a dumbass thing to do. She's very, 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 very stupid. I made very more because she's very, 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 very stupid. You see this LGBTQ narrative, what narrative, this woke movement, it's terrible. It's terrible. These are the people who indoctrinate our kids. A woman like this, she's the one who's pushing this agenda, making people feel like they're in the wrong body. Because if a kid come up to you and tell you, I don't feel like I'm in the right body, you accept it. They'll go meet the next kid. You see, this counselor accepts, she know who I am. I'm in the wrong body. Because that first kid have watched something in the movie or some way that they're in the wrong body. They are confused. A 10-year-old, 12, 15, 7, they are still, their mind, their brain is still developing. They're still not in the right path. They are still confused. And you, as a counselor who is mature enough to put them in the right path, you are more confused than them. It's crazy the world we are living in right now. She says she's not happy or she don't feel like she's also in the right body. She's not happy with her body. And she's going to order burger, donuts, something that will also make her fat. Look at her body. I'm not body shaming her, but the truth of the matter is that she's oversized and looking at someone who's suffering from obesity, and you're still eating things that will make you much larger than you are already, which is terrible. this is the reality we are in. You know this is harmful and you're still doing it. Kids are being given puberty blocker, estrogens. Puberty blocker that are meant to be given to people who are sex offenders, who are suffering from prostate cancer. They're given to teenagers, to young people. And you see nothing wrong in that. And it says that body, that choice. They have the right. What right? This is terrible. And she's a counselor. See the way she's walking. She did not know anything. The school who hired her have made a terrible mistake. She ought to be fired. Like on an instant. This is the issue we're having in America, guys. Women like this, counselors like this, people who are not even thinking in the right frame and they're trying to advise kids. It's terrible. Comment down below what you think about this video. Give us a thumbs up. Share this video as many as can. Subscribe to our channel, guys. You know how it is. We'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure you stay safe.